NFC West champs. We're talking about the 49ers beating down on the Seahawks in Seattle. Huge win. Brock Purdy. All that and more right now. Let's go.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Crocker. Over midfield. He'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.
Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. And, feel good. I almost felt like going, the champs are here. Let's go. 49ers, NFC West champs after beating the Seattle Seahawks. Only won by 8 points, but I felt like throughout the game, the 49ers were in a lot more control than the final score says. Also, awesome job. I mean, talking about going on the road, short week, covering the point spread, like that's difficult. That is difficult to do. And the 49ers doing that shows a lot about how prepared this team is, how well coached they are. The defense was firing on all cylinders all night. There were so many good things from that game, so many really key takeaways. So we're going to talk about all those things, man. But I definitely want to start with the defense. Actually, let me circle back. First, I definitely want to start with the fans. And I talked about this a little bit on Locked On 49ers. If you listen to the very beginning of Locked On 49ers, the YouTube, where it was just me kind of talking to the fans before Peacock joined. But Locked On 49ers was the number 15 sports podcast in the world on Apple. Let me repeat that. Locked On 49ers was the number 15 sports podcast on Apple yesterday. And not only was it number 15, it was the number one. Let me repeat that. It was the number one sports team-specific podcast. So, any podcast that covers a specific team, it was number one in the world. Number one. Like, come on, man. How dope is that? That was pretty cool. So shout out to the faithful, everybody that tunes in for the show. And I always say, man, I know people listen to it. Now, if you want to talk about who gets like the most views on YouTube, that's Grant Cohn. I think Grant Cohn by far gets like the most views and listens there. So if he turned into a podcast format, maybe he'd surpass us. But as of right now, there is as of yesterday, no other team-specific podcast that gets more listens than Locked On 49ers in the world. And I think that's dope. So shout out to y'all. I talk about it on here, man. Hey, Locked On 49ers 5 days a week. And I don't know, people be like, oh, man, it's just, okay, whatever. Nah, we you know what I'm saying, doing some numbers. You feel me? The big boy numbers. Let's go. All right, anyways, the 49ers. Underdog Fantasy. I've been winning a little bit of money on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Crocky. Download the app, underdogfantasy.com. Use promo code Crocky, and they'll double your deposit up to $100. All right, they'll double your deposit. So the 49ers, they came out, and I saw this video on, I believe it was Jimmy Ward that posted it. And Jimmy Ward took the sign. He took a sign out of the fans' hands and ripped the sign up, and the rest of the players were stomping on it. Did y'all see that? The 49ers, they come out, they got the boombox, man, like, right? Like, that's how I'm assuming that's how it sounds. That's how I would be if I was coming out. And first of all, anyways, come out with the boombox. Then they turned up. They coming out the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? They in Seattle. They in the all whites, looking like some beautiful little snowflakes, right? And you see the fans, boo, boo, all that. And the guy had a fan. And Jimmy Ward takes the sign out of a guy's hand, rips it, F your sign. The rest of the guys just start stomping on it. And I'm like, yeah, 49ers, they just on some different stuff right now. Some real gangster type stuff. And I love it. I love every minute of it. As someone who I wish I had like more talent so I could just be more like, but I carry myself like that on the field. I like to turn up a little bit, but I never did anything that bold. And I was like, that is dope. That's dope. So I love that. I love the energy that they bring. And it's not just a before the game thing. It's not just this all talk, no bark type thing. The defense plays that way. So Jimmy Ward, you see him take a sign, rip it, stomp it. That's how they play. That's how they throw their bodies around. And I'm watching kind of this matchup between the 49ers defense against DK Metcalf. And one thing about DK didn't have a great game. Shout out to 49ers defense. But DK is going to bring the energy. And you have to match that type of energy, right? When you are a defense, you aspire to be great. You have to match the energy of guys like Deebo Samuel. You can't, DK Metcalf. You can't let DK be the bully. And DK will be the bully if you let him. All right? You can't let him be the bully. And he tried. He tried to be the bully. It was fun watching him. He's nudging guys after plays. I see Fred Warner bump into him on purpose. You see them talking trash. He's coming off the field. He gets into it with Drake Greenlaw. And I think he knows because he's played against these guys enough. But the 49ers, I think it was Michael Parsons that said he can't bully the bullies. Well, the bullies are the 49ers. They're the guys. They're the guys with that attitude, that mindset. And it's not fake. There's nothing fake about it. They bring it every single game, every single time. And one of my guys, former New York Jet defensive lineman, actually former 49er as well, Ledger Duzable. And Duzable, he's in the media now. And he commented on Kyle Shanahan not going for it on 4th and 2. So if y'all remember, there was a play where near midfield, it was 4th and 7. 49ers lined up real quick. Boom, got a guy to jump. And you'd assume if you line up to get a guy to jump off sides that you get him to jump off sides because, well, you want to go for it. And the 49ers snapped the ball. They didn't let them have the free play or whatever. But now it's 4th and 2. And the 49ers punted the ball. I thought it was very interesting. But, and obviously so did Duzable, because Duzable says, why didn't Kyle Shanahan go for it? And I quote tweeted it, and I didn't mean anything in any super negative way, in any negative way or anything about Kyle Shanahan. But I quote tweeted it and said, well, Kyle Shanahan is very conservative and he leans on his defense. And that is true. Or I said, he leans on his defense in a pinch. And it's true. Kyle, it's almost like he has to kind of build up the courage to oh, okay, I'm going to go for it on 4th down. Right? But by nature, he's very conservative. And maybe it's somebody that talked him out of it. I don't know. But just based on how he kind of does things, he takes more of a conservative approach. And then once he gets up, right, once he's really up, then he starts to feel all right, he loosens up and it's okay, I could take some chances. But when it's a little bit tight, 4th and 2, you got the guys to jump off sides, and he decided to punt the ball. And I think a lot of people questioned it, but I just think, hey, man, that's who Kyle is. But I think it speaks volumes to the 49ers defense and what they are and maybe how much trust he has in them. They've done an amazing job getting guys off the field. They're forcing turnovers. They're getting sacks. They're hitting the quarterback. They're doing all those things, maybe hitting the quarterback a little too hard, right? At times, Nick Bosa getting called for roughing the passer, taking away a pick six, who, a lot of people were like, oh, Lenoir's the weak link in the secondary. Look good on that play. All right, but anyways, you watch the 49ers defense, and I feel like you just can't help but really be inspired with how they play and how they make the job a lot easier on the offense. And I think that's a luxury that a lot of other teams don't have. Number one scoring defense in the league. And when I say number one scoring defense, they allow the least amount of points in the NFL. What does that do from the standpoint of playing offense? Right, let's talk about look at a guy like Josh Allen. Did any of y'all watch Josh Allen in college? I kind of wait for y'all to answer this. All right, but Josh Allen in college, it looked very erratic, right? It looked erratic all over the place. You had to really, really watch and see the talent and ability that he had. You could see the talent. You could see he throws hard. Well, he can make plays, but it was just all over the place. So you had to be very, very, I can see where this is going. I can see what he's going through. And essentially what Josh Allen was going through was not playing on a very good team, doesn't have a bunch of weapons. So everything was on him. All right. Everything was on him. And he had to throw the ball around and, it's erratic and he's running, he's making plays. It just looked kind of wild. And when everything is placed on you as a quarterback, you just are tense. You might take more chances than you maybe wouldn't if you have a better defense, et cetera. Like he went through a lot of that. And when I look at the 49ers offense right now, the 49ers defense allows them to not have to get out of character. The defense is playing so well, you don't have to feel pressed. You don't have to feel like, oh man, like we got to do some things that we typically don't do. I asked about why the 49ers don't do hurry up offense, right? And not hurry up offense. I hate the hurry up offense. That's typically like last 2 minutes, but just how come they don't ever go tempo? How come they don't ever get on the ball, line up, take another snap? And I heard a snap I heard a video, and it was sent to me by my girl Ashley. She's on Twitter. She might be tuning into the show as well. But Ashley sent this video, and it was Kirk Binkert, the quarterback, former Virginia quarterback, was on 49ers practice squad this year. And he said the 49ers practiced the 2-minute drill less than any other team that he's ever been on. All right. The 49ers practiced 2-minute drill less than any other team he's ever been on. And he essentially was saying that they just don't believe that they'll be in those situations very much. And I think there's situations where when they do get in that, how do they react? We watch the game against the Kansas City Chiefs. He referenced his game. He said, you watch the Kansas City Chiefs game. He was like, it was a close game, but when it came to like, they have to play a little bit faster, they just can't because that's not what they do. So then a game that is pretty close, but then you have to pick up the speed and pick up the pace and try to score with another team. You struggle to do that because that's not your identity. And that's tough. So the 49ers kind of put themselves in a pinch in the sense of they have one pitch. And as long as the defense is on, they're going to be fine. Defense start to get a little weird. 49ers might start look out of character and get a little weird. Another example, Atlanta Falcons. All right, the Atlanta Falcons game. 49ers down 14-0. They end up coming back. It's 14-14. Then they fell down 2 scores again. And if y'all remember, the 49ers had the ball. In the fourth quarter, there's about 10 minutes left. They have the ball. They used like 8 minutes of the clock for a drive. You're down 2 scores. They used 8 minutes and did not get points, right? And it was like, what the hell was that? Well, that's not something that they really work on. And I thought that was, extremely interesting. But when you have a great defense, a lot of times you don't have to get put in those type of situations. And when you watch this defense week in and week out and what the 49ers defense is doing and the energy that they play with, the attitude that they play with, the swagger that they play with, the confidence that they play with. They show shots of DeMeco Ryans on the sideline. Even he has a perfectly bald head. I'm envious of that. I shave and stuff like that, but I'm like, why does my shaved head not look like his shaved head? All right. But you watch those things, and here's a good thing, right? Here's a good thing to point to right here. Atlanta game had the Niners defense injured. Right. But that speaks to the point of, well, when you don't have the defense to get all the stops that they typically do, well, what does it look like offensively, right? Because the offense wasn't hurt. The defense was hurt. So why did the offense fall behind? Why did the offense take 8 minutes late in the game when you're down 2 scores, right? So that speaks more to my volumes. Right now, 49ers are doing a really good job of, one, playing ahead of sticks, and we're going to talk about the offense in a second, but playing ahead of sticks, and they're able to be comfortable because of what the defense is doing. And it has been amazing. So I keep saying every episode, we're going to come on here, we're going to talk about the defense. We're going to talk about the defense. And we get caught up in all these other storylines, which are amazing, right? When you see what this young quarterback Brock Purdy is doing, and you see the run game and Christian McCaffrey and all these different things, but it really starts with the defense and what they or how they allow the offense to play. All right, how they allow the offense to play. Maybe part of it is having Christian McCaffrey. We're going to talk about that, and there is a clear Christian McCaffrey element to this offense and what he's doing. I can't wait to get to that as well. But the 49ers matching DK Metcalf's energy. I loved it all night long. DK, that's him. For my guy Brian Peacock, locked on 49ers. Peacock thought that, oh man, like, is DK just extra amped up because it's the 49ers? It's a rivalry. You know, it's their bad blood. We've seen him and Jimmy Ward kind of get into it a little bit on the field. And I'm like, no, that's just how DK is. And the 49ers matched that. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. I know y'all. Let's get into the offense. Oh, no. Hold on. Let's talk about the defense. Okay, Croc. Did Huff give up a touchdown? Okay, let's talk about Huff. There have been, 4 plays over the last 4 weeks that you could say, look at Huff, because he looks like he's getting beat. Now, maybe he is. The one thing I always would say is, I am not in the meetings to know exactly what happened with a play. I don't know exactly what they're told to do, what they're taught to do. I can talk about what it looks like for me, just watching the game just like y'all, right? And what it looks like. And then I can use some of my personal experiences in the sense of, well, what makes sense, right? From just a schematic standpoint, or coverage, and what I'm saying, how I would play it. All right, now, I keep seeing everybody, oh, he busted another coverage. Oh, he's blown coverage. Oh, Hufanga getting beat again. Can you talk about it? And I'm like, man, okay. Hufanga is, what's the word I'm looking for? He's getting hung out to dry. Is that the right word? Hufanga is getting hung out to dry. Tampa Bay. Let's talk about, go back to Miami Dolphins, because Miami, Tampa, and then last game. Miami Dolphins game. Big touchdown to Tyreek Hill. Everyone says, Hufanga, like he busted the coverage. It was quarters. No, just my perspective. It was quarters coverage. In quarters coverage, there's something called the Mills concept. The Mills concept is designed to run a dig or curl over the middle to stop, to get into the safety's match zone, and then have an outside corner, outside shade of a receiver, run a big post away from him so you can get a big play. It's like clockwork. And it happened in that game. Everybody says Hufanga beat it or busted the coverage. To me, what it looked like was the offensive coordinator or play caller and Mike McDaniel did a really good job of attacking the 49ers rules. The rules are, for the most part, again, from my knowledge of it, in quarters, that safety's going to do that, and that corner's going to be outside shade. You throw the big ball away from him. Like, that's pretty elementary in the sense of just kind of the knowledge on that. And that's what happened. But everybody sees Hufanga come up and, oh, he bit on this. Well, if he doesn't go on that, like, that's his vertical match. So if he doesn't go on that, then there's going to be a gaping hole over the middle. So it's just a part of being able to manipulate the coverage and use the guy's coverage rules against him. So that was that one. The other one, the Tampa Bay one, I watched the play, all right, and what it looked like to me, again, I could be wrong. I see everybody in man coverage. I see some confusion pre-snap. I see Hufanga go back to play what looks like middle third, and nobody covered the slot on the fade, which happened to be Mike Evans, and he runs wide open. Nobody's covering him, and he scores a touchdown, but you see Hufanga chasing him, and it's, oh, Hufanga, he busted another coverage. Well, I don't think that was Hufanga. It looked like one or two things happened. One, Jimmy Ward, I believe it was, I could be wrong, was in the slot. It looked like he maybe should have matched him vertically in man coverage, because I look in the slot on the other side, and that guy played man, the outside guy played man, the outside guy over here played man. Either they're playing man or some type of match, and everybody matched up, except for whoever was supposed to match up on the slot, which was not the safety who was bailing back to the middle of the field. But you see Hufanga running, and it's like, oh, Hufanga. I'm like, let me watch it again. I don't think, and I watched it, and I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think it was him. Could be wrong. And then last night, you watch it. I'm watching the play over the middle. You see the touchdown happen. I'm like, what the hell happened? Dude's wide open in the end zone. Then you watch the replay. I see Hufanga widen out, and I've seen enough of the 49ers defense to know, or to think or believe that the linebacker is supposed to carry that vert. We see it all the time with Fred Warner. We've seen it with Aziz. We've seen it with Dre Greenlaw, where a linebacker is supposed to carry that vert from 3. And it didn't happen. But who ends up looking like they're lost? Hufanga, because he's the safety widening out, and that's who you see. So that's just some of my thoughts on the Hufanga thing. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think because he's just a safety and that's the last person you see, I think people are pinning it on him, which I'm not necessarily sure that that's exactly what's going on. So I don't think he let up. I think it's just, I'm safety. Okay, here, I widen out. The linebacker's supposed to carry that, and he didn't carry it, and it's a busted coverage. That's what it looked like. I could be wrong. But Hufanga did have a forced fumble on the sack, blast to the guy. That was awesome. I didn't even talk about our guy, Nick Bosa, and as well as he did. I mean, come on. That was a defensive player of the year type performance if I've ever seen one. All right, like you just watch Nick Bosa and just how he's just beating guys, and it's very interesting. It's all hands. It's all hands with how he wins. I want to try to compare it to like a basketball player. Did Karl Malone ever win league MVP? Let me see this. Hold on. Karl Malone. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see something real quick. And then I'll kind of. NBA most valuable player. 2-time. All right. So Karl Malone. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you are my age, maybe a little bit older, maybe even a little younger. All right. But when I watched Karl Malone, it was like he just did everything so perfect, right? Karl Malone, David Robinson, some of these guys, right? It wasn't like this splashy way of playing. It was, man, pick and roll, set a pick, stop and pop, splash. You know what I'm saying? I used to hate them. I'm a Laker fan. Where my flags at? You know what I'm saying? I'm a Laker fan. And, I used to watch the Lakers against Utah, and I'm like, gosh, I hate John Stockton. I hate Karl Malone. Gosh, like they did it to us again. And it was just pick and roll, stop, pop, splash. And it wasn't this flashy like Sean Kemp, right? I know a lot of y'all remember Sean Kemp. Or maybe big fundamental Tim Duncan, right? So that might be even good, right? It's not like this splashy like Sean Kemp, Johnson, those guys. I mean, they Duncan, windmill, dunking on people, pointing at them, all that, right? It wasn't this splashy brand, but it was just very consistent. And it was like, I just win over and over and over. And I win. And when I watch Nick Bosa, it's not this like flashy style of play at the defensive end position. It's not like Von Miller who, boom, first step, dip his shoulder, rip, damn near touching the ground like a motorcycle, turn that corner, and then pops up and gets the quarterback, right? It's not that, but it's just every play just, and he's in there at the quarterback. Then next play. Then he's in there. And I'm like, how does this dude keep winning? Like, I mean, and his hands are just the hands that is just, and then he's strong, and then bull rush, and it's like, wow, he just does everything perfect. And he just keeps winning and winning and winning. And it's so fun, really, for me to watch because it's so consistent. And last night, I thought was a game that if Nick Bosa is not defensive player of the year, it's like, what are we doing? I get it. Michael Parsons, he does special things. And again, we start talking about the flashy things. And, you know, you look at the touchdown that Parsons scored. And you watch it, and it's like Parsons, like, got to recover the fumble. And then the guy, I think it was Justin Fields. Justin Fields jumped over Parsons without touching him down. Like, literally jumped over him. Didn't touch him. And then Parsons gets up, runs in for a touchdown. And it's like, oh, my gosh, the defensive player of the year, right? And he is amazing. But there's nobody playing better football at the defensive end. And I watch a lot of football. All I do is watch football. I don't think there's a better defensive end right now playing in the NFL. I think it's easy to say that just from being biased, 49er fan, covering the 49ers territory. I watch every snap of Nick Bosa, but I watch a lot of football. I don't do anything else on Sundays. I really don't do anything else on Saturdays. Like, I sit there. I got this nice little setup, right? Nice little, 120-inch screen of the little projection thing. And I watch hella football. And when I watch Nick Bosa, I'm like, I don't think there's anybody playing better than him at this defensive end position or on defense in general. And he's so impactful. And it's just really fun to watch. And it sucks that he had a nice hit on a quarterback that got taken away, or took away the pick six, because it's like, man. And he said they've been calling it like that. I don't think he drove him to the ground, but maybe. But anyways, Here we go. He said, I love all these East Coast channels talking about San Francisco this morning. They so mad. Are they? For good reason. 49ers are hella good. Very good football team. Well coached. Purdy leads all rookie QBs with 6 touchdowns. That's awesome, right? And we're talking about what, in 2 starts. He's played in 4 games, because he played most of the Dolphins game. He came in late in the Chiefs game. All right. But that's awesome. Now, what other quarterbacks you got? Kenny Pickett. Everybody said that was a down quarterback class. Maybe 49ers got the best quarterback out the bunch. All right. Or I'm going to save my take. I'm going to save my Brock Purdy take. All right. Do you smell what the Brock is cooking? So clearly everybody's excited about Brock Purdy. They are excited. And me too. You watch Brock Purdy and you're like, man, plays the game the right way. Right? But I think it starts with Kyle Shanahan. All right. And BZ, I see this. I'm going to get to it. BZ, I see this. I'm going to get to this. All right. I started. So I'm watching the game last night. All right. And actually, let me start with, I think I probably have to preference some things. Somebody, for my take on watching Purdy, said that I was upset. This guy said, Croc, I think I forget the exact word he used, but he said, but basically what he's saying is, I think you're hesitant to crown Brock Purdy because of how your NFL career, I ain't had no career, how it played out. So because you didn't make it, you punched down on guys like Brock Purdy and stuff. I wasn't aware that I was punching down on Brock Purdy, but also I can guarantee you this. My time in the NFL was, for that time, was amazing, right? Just the experience of it. I was never someone that really thought I'd be in the NFL. I wasn't this Pop Warner superstar. I wasn't this high school superstar. I wasn't this college superstar, right? Like I just kept working really hard, and I got really good at football. And and it was like, it's like, dude, the things I went through to get there, dude, y'all know, man, I dropped out of junior college at the age of 18. I had a son at 19. I was robbing stores, running in stores, doing all kind of crazy stuff. I was out of sports or school, everything for 3 years before going back to junior college at the age of 21, betting on myself. My bro, what you talking about? I worked really hard, right? I got back, earned a scholarship, went to this place in Arkansas, school in Arkansas, went to the Arena League, had an opportunity in the NFL. Like, dude, I ain't, what you try? Like, there's not an insecure bone in my body. There's not an insecure bone in my body. I'm very secure with who I am and things I've done. And so to say that, I'm not happy about something, so then I push down on something else or someone else, bro, I ain't never been no hater. I ain't never none of that, right? Like, very secure, very happy. All right, now, when I want to make this clear as well. When we come on here and talk, this is just conversation. All right. We have our conversation. We talk about it. Some of the things that are going through my head, and that's why I do this. When I first started this morning show, the morning show was birthed out of nowhere. It was not because I was like, I want to do a YouTube show about the 49ers and I'm going to get up every morning and do this. No, that's not what happened. One day I woke up and I wanted to talk about Kyle Shanahan. So I just went live on my YouTube channel. And all of a sudden, hella people was in there watching. I said, damn, y'all want me to do it again tomorrow? They say, yeah. So I came on tomorrow. But initially it was just getting my thoughts out there. Okay, I came on the next day. Hella people in here. Came on, talked to y'all again. Let's go. The next day was when, the following day, so the third straight day was when Stephon Gilmore was getting released. He ended up getting traded, but he was getting released. I'm like, oh, let's go live. Went live in the morning. 400 some people in there watching. I said, hell yeah, let's go. Right? So then I said, hey, y'all want me to do this every morning? They were like, yeah. So then we started doing it. It's not about me. This is about just having fun talking to y'all. So when I have these takes, or I guess you could call it text, but really they're just thoughts. And this is really more so like a journal. So I have thoughts on what I'm saying, and I say it to y'all, but it's not oh, I want to be Skip Bayless, or I want to be Emmanuel Acho, or I want to be these guys, or I want to be this hot shot guy because I need the money. No. I just come on here to talk to y'all like I would just talk to anybody else, and just give my thoughts. And the crazy thing is, I don't expect, it's not like I expect y'all to agree with 100% of the things that I say. I want y'all to push back. Push back. Let's talk about it. Let's bring y'all on. Let's talk about it. So, with that being said, all right, I'm going to just talk about what I saw last night. And with us talking about it, this is not Eric saying, oh, this guy's trash, or this guy's amazing, or this guy's this, and this only because of this. I'm just talking about what the fuck I'm seeing. That's it. All right. So, let's talk about it. Brock Purdy. I see it on Twitter. I see it everywhere. Purdy Mania. I think I saw this right here. It says, what a game, right? Yeah, the kid is special. I'm not going to debate or talk about any more comparisons or stating stuff about quarterback competition next year. What this kid is doing right now is special. And I would say this. I think what Brock Purdy is doing is special, but for different reasons than why other people think what he's doing is special. I think it is special for a rookie to be able to come in and execute and be very functional in an offense. And it is very clear that Brock Purdy is doing that. And that, I think, is special. I do not think that Brock Purdy is special. Now, I'm not saying that he can't be. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying from what I'm seeing, I don't see like, oh, this is a special talent. I think what he's doing is special. Does that make sense? Does it make sense? So when I start seeing the things about, some of these other guys and whatever the case is, I'm like, I wouldn't go that far yet. All right. I wouldn't go that far yet. I think what he's doing is special as a rookie coming in this pressure-packed situation, right? Because we know what the 49ers, what the people want. You want a Super Bowl. And I think him not just keeping the 49ers afloat. I think he's playing solid quarterback play. Like, it looks good, right? And I think, now listen, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is special. So, you know what I'm saying? I think Jimmy Garoppolo is a good quarterback. I watch Brock Purdy, and I see how things are kind of set up, and he has a great situation. I'm watching the game, starting off, and it's like, all right, I throw the ball to, and real quick, y'all, I'm starting the tweets. I see Ryan. I'm about to go on Ryan's show in about 55 minutes. Shout out to my guy Ryan. All right, but I'm watching the game, and it's like, run to Christian McCaffrey, throw to Christian McCaffrey, run to Christian McCaffrey, check down to Christian McCaffrey, screen to Christian McCaffrey, screen to Christian McCaffrey, double screen, fake screen to Christian McCaffrey, and throw to George Kittle for a wide open touchdown. And it was like, that is, I think how do I explain this? I think that Brock Purdy is in a very advantageous situation with where the 49ers are currently at in their season. When you have a defense that teams just can't score on. They can't score on them. When you have weapons, when you have Kyle Shanahan as your play caller, when you have Christian McCaffrey, who I really only have to force a ball because I can just check it down to Christian McCaffrey, and he's going to do the rest. When I have Kyle scheming these guys open, or when I have a Seattle Seahawks team that bust a coverage, one of the first plays of the second half, and I throw a long touchdown, right, when there's nobody within 20 yards of them. I'm not saying that Purdy's not good. I want to make that very clear. But I do think that him being able to come in this situation, that is special. I do not think that Brock Purdy is special yet. Now, if we're saying he continues to get better and better and better and better and better, and then, now he's doing all these, then, all right, then it's like, okay. And I'm just having a conversation. So this isn't me saying this guy will never be this. Y'all never hear me say that. Y'all will never, ever, 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 ever hear me say that, right, about a guy. I come on, hey, man, I'm watching this guy, Danny Gray, and it's like, I think he needs to, work on being able to free himself up on underneath routes. I do see the speed, but these corners, the way they're kind of guarding them, I think they're a little disrespectful for a guy that runs a 4.3. I think they're covering him more like a guy that runs a 4.6. They're not really scared of his vertical threat. He's not freeing himself up on underneath routes. But, okay, if he catches a crosser, he can maybe take it to the house. If he runs vertically past a guy that's playing off coverage, he can do it. But just on a consistent basis, I think Danny Gray needs a lot of work. Croc, you're tripping. You're a hater. You don't like him. Like, no, I'm just saying he needs a little work on these things to be a consistent, good football player in the NFL. Oh, he's not playing. Well, I try to tell y'all. And it's not me saying that he can't be good. It's not me saying I think he has high ability. I even went as far as to say, I said, when I watch him, it's like he can be Mike Wallace, he can be A.J. Jenkins. Like, I don't know, and I said, I think he's closer to A.J. Jenkins right now. That doesn't mean that's all you're going to be. So when I talk about Brock Purdy, I think what he's doing is big time. I have not yet seen, like, this is why this guy is going to be a 10-year starter in the NFL. I think I've seen this is why this guy will, at the very least, be a high-end backup. And he potentially can be a long-term starter. I've seen things that now I would say a team would say this is a starting quarterback. All right, that's what I'm seeing. And I think that it really helps when you have, and this is not to his fault and this is not to work against him, but when you don't have anything on you, when it's, I can just throw to Christian McCaffrey 10 times, or I can throw to a wide open Kittle, and all I gotta do, let me make a couple throws here and there, and then I play with my legs, which essentially is what we're asking of Jimmy. And I think what people are forgetting is we were asking the bare minimum of Jimmy. That's what the 49ers and the fan base, me included, are asking the bare minimum from Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo, can you lean on Kyle? Can you, okay, you're gonna have a good run game. You got all these weapons. You're going to be the best run-after-catch guy. All right? And, you're going to have the best run-after-catch guys. You got the best play caller. You got all these things, right? And just don't screw it up. And I think that Purdy actually gives you a little more. I think Purdy actually gives you a little bit more from the sense of, like, hey, and I can do those things that Jimmy does, and I can make a play with my legs, right? But I still, when we start talking about, like, is he a franchise quarterback? That, I think time will tell on that. So I would pump the brakes on those things. But again, maybe I'm wrong. And I hope that anybody that is in here right now, you kind of saw my whole spiel. So it doesn't come off as if Eric's just like, oh, no, he can't do this and that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in the chat. We're going to go live. Appreciate everybody's in here right now. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. All right. Let's have a conversation. And I have said before, man, hey, I hate being taken out of context. So please don't take anything I just said out of context. All right. I really like Brock Purdy. I'm really excited about what he's doing. But I see it's like, oh, man, this, and do away with everybody else. I'm like, whoa. He's in a great position. And a lot of it is, I would say, he's doing what I feel like Mac Jones would have did in this offense. And the difference is you got one in the 7th round as opposed to a 15th overall pick. You know what I'm saying? And I think for all the reasons why it was like, okay, Mac Jones, okay, I would rather do this. Like, I still feel that way. And that's not to take anything away from Brock. I hope that, you know what I'm saying? Here we go. Let's hit the chat. Come on live. All right, y'all come in here. I know there were some super chats here. Mason averaged 6.5 yards per carry when 95% of the snaps are obvious run plays is ridiculous. Mason, I have no, and I put on here, I just didn't get to it, but Christian McCaffrey's usage is like, Kyle, you can run Mason. Like, you can give him the ball. It's so wild to me that there is this lack of, Everybody talks about, oh, Kyle, he likes to running back by committee. No, the hell he doesn't. Kyle, if he got a healthy player, healthy back, and you can play, then like, dude, we're just gonna run you. If he likes how you run. I'm like, Kyle, you can give the ball to Mason. I think Mason should come in much sooner than what he did. Just sprinkle him in there. And it was just, especially early on, McCaffrey, run to McCaffrey, throw to McCaffrey, run to McCaffrey, screen to McCaffrey, run to McCaffrey, screen to McCaffrey. And I'm like, oh, I get it. He's doing very well. Can you please mix in Mason just a little bit? I think Mason is running extremely well. Damn, someone went at you like Skip did Shannon G's. Right. Like, bro, what's this got to do with me? I ain't never made nothing about me. What we doing here? That's spot on. And again, guys, make sure you guys, if you're not subscribed to my guy Ryan Hensley's channel on YouTube, make sure you do that. All right. I'll be on there at 8 a.m. Pacific, right? 8 a.m. Pacific. Gotta look at my phone. But 8 a.m. Pacific, I'll be on his channel. So make sure you guys go over there. Shout out to my guy. Let's go. And I think I have another super chat. CMC is the MVP of the offense. He has made Jimmy and Purdy look great. I don't want to say that he has made them look great. I think that their preparation has made them play at the level that they're playing at, right? Jimmy Garoppolo, before the injury, probably the best that he's played. Brock Purdy coming in, playing very well to where it's like, oh, do you need these other quarterbacks? But I will say that having him has, combined with Kyle Shanahan and the other guys that you have on offense, has definitely helped the 49ers quarterbacks and his offense. It's so spread out. He draws so much attention. He goes in motion. Everybody goes with him. You fake a screen to him. Everybody goes with him. You leave George Kittle wide open. Like, there is a lot of attention to Christian McCaffrey. He's running extremely well. He's catching extremely well. It's some really good stuff. It's some really good stuff. Mac Jones' decision-making isn't nearly as good. It's not even close. Let's talk about it. Then I got a couple callers coming in right now. So, a lot of people forget the draft process between that class, right? The Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson. And I remember that offseason, before the draft, I'm watching a football game, and it's Drew Lock. And I'm watching Drew Lock play a late season game against, it was the Denver Broncos against the Raiders, I think. Drew Lock started the game. And I'm watching Lock. And I'm like, man, this guy looks like somebody I've been watching lately. Who does he look like? And I'm watching him. And he had a good game. I'm watching him, some of the things he does. And I'm like, okay, that's good. And then I'm like, this looks like Zach Wilson. Drew Lock looks like Zach Wilson. The way he carries himself, throwing the ball, like it all looked like Zach Wilson. Right? Now, I put it on Twitter. Hey, I didn't evaluate Drew Lock coming out of college, because there's different with evaluations and stuff like that, right? I didn't evaluate him coming out of college. And I know what he's kind of looked like at times in the NFL early that year. What are the differences between Drew Lock and Zach Wilson? And a lot of the responses I got, because everybody loves Zach Wilson, right? Coming out of BYU. Well, decision-making, accuracy, right? So that's why I see I'm tying this full circle when you got Mac Jones and all that. Decision-making, accuracy is better, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. Now, let's compare these guys' situations a little bit. Drew Lock played in the SEC at Missouri. He's on the worst team in the SEC, right? He's at the worst school, one of the worst. I mean, you got Vanderbilt, they're pretty bad too, but one of the worst schools in the SEC is Drew Lock. And he is tasked with trying to carry his college team against LSU, Alabama, like Tennessee, big dogs, right, in the SEC. Georgia. He's got to look good against those guys with way less of talent and ability, right? And so you watch that. And let's talk about Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson was not the efficient passer his first 2 years in college as he was his junior year. First couple years, you got to play some big dogs. You're playing Pac-12 schedule. You got these guys on, and it's like, you see ability, but it's not efficient. Well, the last year for Zach Wilson, it, from an efficiency standpoint, on paper, jumped up drastically. And it's like, oh my goodness, like, look how accurate, look at this. And it's like, well, he went from playing a lot of these Pac-12 schools and stuff like that, where it's definitely more even, to playing North Alabama, playing Texas State. and his players are just better. So it started to just look like very interesting. Now let's look at Mac Jones. And I think Mac Jones had a very good situation at Alabama. But he goes to New England, and it's hard to compare Mac Jones' decision-making to Brock Purdy's, who, Brock Purdy, I think, consistently makes good decisions. But I would say it's equally as good as Mac Jones, who Mac Jones does not have Kyle Shanahan calling plays for him. He has a guy named Matt Patricia, who is a defensive coordinator calling plays for the first time in his life, offensively. All right. He does not have the weapons, especially right after catch guys. He has to lean on like Kendrick Bourne to make plays, and this rookie Taquan Thornton, who is very fast, but that's pretty much it, right? So not very good. You can't really compare the situations there as it pertains to decision making, because there's more on Mac Jones' shoulders than there is on Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's it's a much more ideal situation than what Mac Jones is going through, and you still got to execute. You still have to execute. You do. But it's a much more ideal situation with the 49ers as opposed to the New England Patriots. So when you say that's, I had to kind of bring that full circle there. Only concern about the defense is them trying to stop mobile quarterbacks. Look at our losses so far. Can they stop Mahomes or Hurts? I would say this, Travarius. I would say that most teams in the NFL struggle with mobile quarterbacks. That's like, right? So what makes the mobile quarterback so good, right? Consistently. Jalen Hurts, if the 49ers, let's say they have a tough time stopping Jalen Hurts, well, join the party, because everybody's having a tough time stopping him. Lamar Jackson, when he's on, right? Like, everybody had a tough time. That's why he was the league MVP, unanimous. Patrick Mahomes, MVP, Super Bowl MVP, like guys that can move, they can make these plays off script. Like, everybody has a tough time with those guys. So it's not It's not just the 49ers with that issue. Bo West. Brock got some Kyler Murray athleticism to me. No, he doesn't. Here we go. Cameron, how you doing, man? Good morning.
Morning, Croc. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm hanging out. I'm chilling, having a good conversation with the faithful. What's on your mind this morning?
Look, I just want to say first, I agree completely with your Mac Jones take. If you switched Brock Purdy and Mac Jones would have the same success, if not more success, that Brock Purdy's having right now. So I think that people need to tone back a little bit on the Brock Purdy hype, but I do think he has that potential. I was at the game Sunday against the Buccaneers. It was my first ever game. And
congratulations on going to your first game.
Yeah. I went to Brady versus my Niners and got my chain and everything, but it was a crazy environment, and it was crazy that Brock Purdy was the one leading it. Like, I remember buying my tickets and being like, I can't wait to see Jimmy G versus Tom Brady. And then I go and it's Brock Purdy making his first start, beating Tom Brady. So it was a crazy game, and I think Brock Purdy does have that potential, and the reason is because he doesn't have to do anything. Like, he literally can throw the ball 15 times in a playoff game, and we can win by 30. Like, it's a crazy team we have in our defense. It's just a whole team. It's a whole unit as a team. I think it's crazy. Yeah.
They are cooking right now, and it is really exciting to see. And it's definitely exciting to see everything that Brock Purdy is doing. You know, just again, coming in, a guy that was the last pick. And now when you get to the NFL, and they'll tell you this too, like, once you're there, it really doesn't matter where you're picked as far as being able to do your job. And, now we have to kind of throw that out the window. He is just doing his job just as if he was a first-round pick, second-round pick, third-round pick, fourth-round pick. Doesn't matter, right? Like, he's doing a great job. We don't look at Kirk Cousins and be like, oh, well, Kirk Cousins is good for a fourth-round pick. Like, no, Kirk Cousins is a good NFL quarterback. Mm-hmm. So to see what Brock Purdy's doing, man, and being able to be very functional in the offense, it's exciting to see for sure. And that was pretty cool for you to be able to see that in your first game. I will say this. The sucky part about going to that game is, and I've been to a lot of 49 games, you didn't really get to see a good game. Like, you got to see a blowout, and it's like, that's cool, but you didn't get to see, like, on the edge of your seat, like, oh, man, what's going to happen? Because I've been to those games, and those are the best games. Like, those are fun. The games where it's just like, 49 just kick somebody's ass, it's like, all right, I was there. I got to see Tom Brady, cool, but, man, the edge of your seat, you got to go to another game. Hopefully, come, in the next few weeks, maybe I don't expect the Commanders game to be, very good like that. We'll see, though. Taylor Heineke I think he plays a lot like Brock. There we go. Okay, I'm back. Are you there, Cameron? Uh-oh. Okay, I think did we got him? Yeah, okay, I got you back. I don't know what
Okay,
happened. My
sorry
bad,
about
Joe.
that.
My bad. No, it wasn't you. It was like me or something. I don't know. And I think StreamYard's been doing some weird NFL draft, and it just uh, all right. Are we live? Let's see. Okay, we are live. All right. Appreciate everybody that stuck with us. I don't know what's going on, but I know right now I am streaming from my phone, so hopefully my Wi-Fi, my hotspot holds up. Or hopefully my hotspot holds up. But go ahead, Cameron. I know I kind of cut you off there. There we go. You're back.
I'm just gonna add one quick thing so you can get to the next person. I just want to say I wore my Deebo Samuel jersey to the game. He scored the first touchdown. Last night I wore my George Kittle jersey. He scored 2 touchdowns. Next game, I don't know who I'm wearing, but I promise you they're gonna go off.
All right, yeah. Wear that jersey, Brock Purdy jersey, if you can get
I gotta
one
get
real
one.
quick.
Yeah, I gotta get one.
All right. Appreciate you coming on.
All right, have a good day.
All right, that was weird, man. I don't know what was going on with the stuff for a second. Now I'm streaming off my phone, so hopefully it holds up. So when does Kyle get his flowers on the Weiner fans that wanted Kyle fired? The culture has been built is incredible. Those people need to turn their stuff and root for another team. You clowns! Damn, Javier, what? Whoa, Javi. I say this. I think that not saying he should be fired, right? But I think that Kyle, the criticism that was on him, I feel like is pretty warranted for the most part. Not if people really extreme about it. But there were times where it looked weird. Now you can say for different reasons, quarterback situation, whatever, but one winning season in his first, 4 or 5 years? No, I don't think that's ideal. Right. So I think if it were another coach, and again, you could say, well, the quarterback situation, I think there are other coaches that have gotten a lot out of not having the most ideal situation. Hell, look at the Detroit Lions right now. And maybe it's because Jared Goff isn't this, but you talk about changing the culture and what Dan Campbell has really done. So I would say that there was a lot warranted on that. I think clearly now he's definitely proven, and I talked about it earlier this year when the 49ers were bad. Y'all remember this. 49ers weren't doing very well, and I said, listen, guys, they're going to figure out they got great coaching. This is going to be a team that wins 10-plus games. And people thought I was crazy. And they've done it. But it wasn't me just saying like, oh, are they going to do? It's just, well, I think these are really good coaches, and they'll figure it out. And I think they have figured it out. So I think there were times, especially last year when the team was 3-5. If you were saying, hey, this team has one winning season in 5 years and they're 3-5 right now, fire Kyle Shanahan, I think that's kind of warranted. But yeah, clearly since then, he has done a really good job. And I see my guy Shades, he says, Croc, the Lions have 6 wins. They do. But this is 6 wins, a team that started, 1-5, and they're changing the culture of it. Terrible team. They're trying to lean on Jared Goff. The defense was terrible. The Lions lost a game early in the season where the offense scored 45 points. The offense scored 45 points, and they lost the game. And there were a bunch of games like that. So, they don't have 49ers defense. Part of that is Kyle getting those guys together. But I like what the Lions are doing and turning that thing around right now. A very competitive team. Kind of reminds me of 2017 49ers. Very competitive. All right, here we go. Got my guy Gammon coming on. Gammon, good morning, Gammon. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Brock. How about yourself, Brock? But
are you calling me Brock on purpose, or?
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool if you could get him on. Crocker, Brock, just kind of hamming it up.
Yeah.
But I did have a couple questions for you. One of them was, Brock Purdy. I don't think his performance last night was as quality as like the other performances, but I kind of took it with a grain of salt. My question to you is, what does it say
Short
about
week, oblique injury? There are a lot to go with that, but go ahead.
Yeah, and then also too, winning on the road. What is that? And then because he also too specifically said, he's wanting to challenge himself mentally by trying to be able to pick up and install a new game plan and in such a quick turnaround. And then also too, physically, he wanted to see where his toughness was at and his mental fortitude, by trying to play and throw through an oblique injury, which I got to imagine is like, it probably takes some zip off the ball. But I was just kind of curious what your kind of takeaway was from that and what kind of message you think that sends.
I think that sends a big message, right? One thing about the 49ers, quarterbacks that they have, even Jimmy Garoppolo, man, those guys are tough. They play with a lot of toughness. And it's very interesting to hear a different side of that, especially on Jimmy Garoppolo from like Martellus Bennett and those guys. And they're like, oh, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's a bitch. He didn't play through this. And it's like, man, we've seen the complete opposite. We've seen the guy that battled, thumb falling off, shoulder falling off. But it's like, hey, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try to help and contribute to this team winning games. And when you watch Brock Purdy, and it's like, dude, we don't have to go to Josh Johnson, right? We don't want to have to find out. But you watch him with the injury, and I didn't really see him flinch. Right now, I think it was Peacock talked about one throw where it was the miss to McCaffrey in the flats. I just think I don't even know if it was he's about to get hit on the left side by maybe where that oblique injury is. I don't know if it's that, or I'm just trying to get rid of the ball because I'm going to get hit. And McCaffrey's not even in his route yet. He hasn't even broke his route off yet, so he kind of just threw the ball. But for the most part, and I watched him on the throw, he threw a ball right to Diggs, right? Remember that pat? It hit Diggs in the chest, the safety on the Seahawks. But I'm looking to see, like, does this hurt him to try to drive a ball? And when I was looking at his face, he didn't even wince. So I don't know how much pain he was in. I'd assume that he is in pain and maybe he just has a high pain tolerance. I also know they give them those shots, and I had to play with like a separated shoulder. There were games where I had this harness on. My shoulder kept popping in and out, and they give you that Toradol shot. When they give you that shot, it's like, well, at least for the game, I'm Superman. I don't feel anything. And then after the game, you start. So still showed a lot of toughness. And then you talk about just a short week of preparation. I think that shows to Brock Purdy. We've talked a lot about his experience in college and what that is. And I think we're seeing a lot of that come to fruition right now.
I'm wondering, if I'm wondering why the medical staff hasn't given him. I know I see sometimes some quarterbacks, they kind of have that a lot of like padding kind of around the chest kind of area and the kind of protect the rib cage and that sort of thing. I think I used to see Drew Brees kind of wear that quite a bit. I don't know what it's called, but it'd be kind of interesting to see him have that. Another question I had for you, Croc, was fans, during preseason, fans had concerns about the secondary. pretty much what we were told is that all our team really needed was just depth. And that's the way I kind of felt too. Like if we had enough depth to where we didn't need, Dante Johnson on the roster week 1, I thought that would be a huge win, which it was. But after, all the injuries that we're having to the secondary, concussions, ankles, everything that's kind of going on, what would you say is kind of the level of concern with our secondary kind of moving forward right now with all the injuries and to our depth and our starters right now?
Yeah, I think when you look at last season and what the 49ers had to go through, I think that was pretty bad, right? And for them to be able to overcome that, I think you do ask yourself how much, you can kind of take on with the injuries to the secondary and still keep it moving. But last year had to go out there with Ambry Thomas, who can't really even get on the field right now, right? I mean, they just put Jack Rabbit on the field before Ambry Thomas, and Jack Rabbit's been there a week. So you look at Ambry Thomas played last year. Josh Norman played last year, and they still had a top 3 defense. They still had the number 6 pass defense statistically in the league. So if you had to go out there with those guys and you were still able to get good contribution from the secondary and be able to play, I'm okay with, all right, you got to go through some games with Diamador Lenore potentially. Okay, maybe you have to go through some games with Jack Rabbit at corner potentially, and maybe even Ambry Thomas has to eventually play. But, right now, I think is a good time to be able to have some guys be able to sit, still try to overcome it. You look at the schedule coming up, and I'll bring it up right here. But I know you have the Washington Commanders.
Which I'm pretty nervous about, actually, honestly. I think that they have a really, really good defense and a defensive line. And, just kind of concerns me if we're not able to kind of establish a running game, especially with the lack of push. It feels like our offensive line kind of gets the right guard.
Yeah, Ambry was hurt too. I forgot Ambry was hurt, but
yeah,
no, you're dead on about being. I guess I don't overlook any team, but I'm just saying as far as favorable matchups, I think you'd rather play the Commanders right now if you have some injuries as opposed to a couple other teams in the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles, right?
Yes.
If you're going to be down some guys, I would rather play Commanders. Not saying that they're any slaps or anything like that. But I think they're kind of built very similar to the 49ers, but kind of like the poor man's version of the 49ers. A team that leans on that D-line to do a lot. A team that has this spunky quarterback at the spot right now. And I've talked about me being excited to watch Taylor Heineke and Brock Purdy on the field at the same time because I think they're very similar in how they play. But just overall, you got to be able to overcome it. And when you have a D-line like the 49ers, keep generating that pressure. And, you have Nick Bosa. He puts that defense on his shoulders when need be. Do things like that. Then some of these others will make plays. So hopefully you don't have to go through that too long. You already lost Emmanuel Mosley. You don't want to be down Travarius Ward. I don't know what's going on with Travarius Ward, but I know you don't want to be down a long time with him. But.
Yeah, Travarius Ward, Ambry Thomas. I mean, it's just a big list. I didn't really get a chance to see Janoris Jenkins. It's, I actually want to watch a lot of the defense and how they're playing and what's kind of going on. But just from the perspective, they really only show the offense really kind of doing putting in that kind of work. Also, too, I mean, Gray was injured as well, so we were already kind of thin at the wide receiver position, but we seem to be getting a little bit more thin as well. I'm just kind of curious. Really, what do you think if you were to say, the 49ers win the Super Bowl, what would be the reason why we do? And then if we don't win the Super Bowl, what team do you think that we would end up losing to? And why do you think that would be the reason?
That's tough for me to answer because I just feel like the 49ers can beat anybody. It's like, and I've always felt like that. If the 49ers play their brand of football, like anybody on any given day, they can get it. Now, take care of the ball. I think they've done a really good job of that, right? Take care of the ball. Keep feeding McCaffrey and Kyle keep dialing up. I find the 49ers being a very hard team to beat because of the weapons they have and how they utilize those guys and how they work off of each other. Especially when you start bringing Deebo Samuel back. It's just, I think it's just too hard for defenses to be like, well, we're going to account for this guy and account for that guy. I'd say if there was one way to where you just potentially is just like, okay, this is how we're going to beat the 49ers, take away the run game. Because everything works off the run. So if you can just take away the run game, then that's when, 49ers start to play a brand of football that they ideally don't want to have to play. And then that's when it's like, all right, that would be if I'm another team, that's how I would see it. But I'm going to get you off, Gammy. I'm going to get to the next caller, my guy, Terradome.
All right.
All right. Here we go. Terradome. Good morning, Terradome. How you doing?
I'm doing mighty fine as an NFC West champion once again. I think Dr. Dre said it best. Guess who's back? We get ready.
Yeah. And it feels good. You look at this team and then, man, they're looking very dominant. And that's exciting to see. But go ahead.
Still number one. Still great defense. Still great offense. Still got the weapons. Still got the play calling. And we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Much is coming. Just shout out to everybody out there in the faithful land and Nana land. Hey, I told y'all about this kid, Brock Purdy. He had it all over him. There's something called an anointing. On the 23rd Psalm, he says, God anoints my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Sometimes you got it, and Croc knows this. If he doesn't, I'm getting ready to explain to him. Sometimes there's an anointing on you that you can't wash off, you can't put clothes on, you can't sweat off, you can't do anything else. It's just on you, and it's going to stay on you. You might try to deny it, you might try to go away from it, you might try to run away from some things, but that anointing is on you, young man. It's on you. Quick thing about the Bill Parcells prerequisites. He got like 7 prerequisites.
The commandments.
And they're really good. You got to play 30 games, win 23 of them, be over 60%, change the culture, graduate, and things like that. And he checked all of those blocks. But there have been other quarterbacks that checked those blocks as well. I think we talked about earlier, Mac Jones. I used to like A.J. McCarron. I felt like he checked those blocks. Here's where it needs to be modified a bit. I'm going to have to look at how many games you came back on and got your team in contention either to win or to beat against a ranked opponent. And secondly, how many first-round receivers did you play with? I remember A.J. McCarron and all these great Alabama guys. Dude, you was throwing that thing to Julio Jones, Chris Olave, Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Riddle, all these guys. But we don't know of the Iowa State guys that went first round. That's a key. That meant that the onus was on you as a quarterback in those 30 games, in those 23 wins, and you really didn't have what we consider, and I'm not going to besmirch anybody's talent, what we consider first round, second round, big time talent. We have to take that into consideration. I just love our defense. Greenlaw, I wanted us to switch to a dime defense before time against these heavy pass receivers. But you know something, man? Dre Greenlaw, let me tell you how bad this wall defender is, this Sam defender. Dre Greenlaw is almost counting like another safety on the field with his coverage skills and how he gets back and his intimidative presence, playing like a baller.
Real quick, Terradome.
Yeah, go ahead.
Terradome. I'm gonna hop backstage real quick so I can switch my Wi-Fi. You keep going though. You'll be live.
Okay.
You keep going. I might be able to hear you still, but I'm gonna be backstage. You go ahead and do your thing.
And I'll look at the chat and I'll be responding back. I see Bomber T out there. What up, Bomber T? Chris Hansen, I see you out there. Who else out there today? Who else out there? Shout out to everybody out there. This was a really good win. And wasn't it great just to beat them Seattle Seahawks with that puke green that they wear, that and all they got in that city is a sky needle, and just a bunch of hoo-ha, man. I just love beating the Seattle Seahawks. And Dre Greenlaw is a Seattle killer. He is a Seattle killer. He's my favorite dude. Sometimes on that defense, I know it's hard. Tylenol Hufanga was balling out. Chairman Fred Warner, and everybody get to NFL.com and vote. Vote for your Pro Bowlers. We should have no less than 8 Pro Bowlers from this team today. It should be at a minimum 8, but it's incumbent upon the viewers, incumbent upon the fans, incumbent upon the faithful. Vote for these guys because they have done a tremendous job. This defense is coming with it. The weapons are getting down to do it. Trent Williams is who he is, and he can't take anything away from it. We got work to do, and the plane is loaded with JP8 fuel, and we are taking off. We're going to see those Red Commanders. I'm a little old school, but they do pose a threat. I'm with who was just on Medic Mike, or was it Gammon? Gammon was just on, and I see his concerns because they're very similar makeup to us as well. They're a physical team, and they got a little bit of a twitchy playmaker at the quarterback, and they got who I call G Money up front, Allen and Payne. For those of y'all that know New Jack City, I might be dating myself. There was an actor named Alan Payne who played G Money on New Jack City. I know you're a little young, Croc. He looking. But G Money played, but they got Alan Payne in the middle, and I think they're going to get back their stud, just like we have a stud from Ohio State coming off the corner. They have one as well. I know he was dealing with an ACL or Achilles injury. He probably is going to be back. We're always going to err to the side of caution in terms of players being back. But they're very simple. But they don't have the linebackers that we have. They don't have so many weapons. Did you see that beautiful play, that fake throw to the left side, fake throw to the right side, and Kittle in the middle? That's what, man, Kyle Shanahan was in his bag. I used to dog him, when he going with those conservative plays or whatever. That was a pretty one there, Kyle. You went back to the Walsh days. That was about 1987. I ain't seen that since I think Steve Young was in there for Joe Montana one time, and they did it with, I think, Brent Jones in the middle. That was a beautiful shot, man. Beautiful play. Paying homage out there. I saw Richard Sherman. He was straddling the fence. He didn't know who he wanted to vote for. He was like, I think Seattle, I think San Francisco, I don't know. Come on, Sherm.
I think he's a 49er fan, man. There's something about
Sherm.
I think his time in Seattle, I think it soured those like last year or so.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, and then the time he had with the 49ers, which was he was there for 3 years, and it was like great, and everybody was really cool. And that's his last experience playing. Well, he did play with Tampa, but I think because of that, I think he has like this love for the 49ers. But Terry Dome, I'm gonna get you off, get to the next caller, man. But I appreciate you coming on.
Let's do it, faithful. I'm shout back out at you. All right, it's still on you.
All right. Shout out to Terry Dome coming on. Every time Mooney wins, you win, Crocker. I like that. Yeah. Watching him, I hate that they play him off coverage ever. Like, just put this guy in somebody's face and let him play right there at the line of scrimmage. And you see how just difficult he makes it on receivers. He made it difficult on DK. And DK is tough. Here's what people missed with DK. DK coming out, a lot of people focused on okay, he's really big and he ran a fast 40, but they start looking at the lateral movement stuff, right? And I'm like, well, you don't have to do that. You don't have to have him run double moves. What does he do well? Well, he's really quick and powerful off the line of scrimmage. He has really quick feet, And when he throws a guy by, he's able to really accelerate past him. And he's a really good long strider. And you could use him on that. Slants, because he's so powerful at the line of scrimmage to create that instant separation. But he had a tough time against Mooney Ward. So that was really fun to watch. Mr. Roscoe's. You're on mute, by the way.
What's up, Croc?
Good morning.
Oh, man. NFC West champs. You know, I'm on cloud 9 right now. How about you?
Yeah.
How's your Friday going? Victory Friday.
Victory Friday is good. We're on a lot earlier than usual. I came on at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time because I just have a really busy day.
I prefer these times that you come on this early, though, in my opinion, because
Yeah.
I'm up early, and then I start running spaces around the 9 o'clock time you go, or I'm at the gym. But Croc, I want to say I'll piggyback off of some of the people that spoke already, like Dre Greenlaw. Dre Greenlaw is playing at an all-pro level. I don't care about Pro Bowls. I personally care about all pros, and I think he's playing at an all-pro level. I don't know if they'll vote him in, because I remember, Fred Warner in 2020. He should have, or 20. Was it 2020 or 2019?
Yeah, that's when they started calling him All-Pro Fred.
Yeah, 2019. No, he should have been All Pro, because he actually had a really good year, 2019. But he had to wait. You know what I'm saying? And so he had to wait. And then 2020, when Aaron Rodgers finally gave him the recognition, it just felt like everybody was like, "Oh yeah, you are All Pro and stuff." So, I mean, I hope Dre Greenlaw doesn't have to wait. I mean, because the way he is playing football right now, it is at a very, very high level. And even some people that came on your show were very loud and wrong. And then we talk about Huff. Had a sack, forced fumble, PDU, should have got a pick. Clean up them hands, you know what I'm saying? But
hit the top of his feet. Here's the tough thing when you're coming down like that. And again, this is me just bringing from a defensive back perspective.
Yeah.
When you come down and you jump in the air to pick a ball off, sometimes you don't know, like, is somebody coming from the sides? Because when he jumped it, it's just like, it was just so clean. You feel me? It's like, is somebody about to come hit me? And you start thinking about these other things, and it kind of throws your concentration off a little bit. But you got to catch that.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, you got to catch that. Can I ask you a question on that touchdown to Fant? I like how. I mean, I don't want to say I like how Herb Street explained it, but Herb Street explanation seemed right. But what was your view on that?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier. My biggest takeaway from that one is that when you see the safety widen right away, it feels like that's his responsibility to widen. And when you see a guy just run straight up the middle clean, I would assume a linebacker is supposed to carry that vertically. And we see that a lot from 49ers defense. You see, I mean, how often do we see Fred Warner carry those vertically pushing routes, especially in the red zone? You see a lot. And wall those guys off.
Yeah.
How often do we see Greenlaw carry those guys vertically? We've seen Aziz do it as well. So I don't know. I always say I don't know. I'm not in the meeting rooms, but that looked like one of those plays where whoever the backer was supposed to carry that 3 guy vertically.
And the way Hufanga looked after the play is like, what happened, y'all? So yeah, I just want to make sure fans understood that. And again, shout out to the broadcast, because they actually kind of explained it yesterday. So because folks, they automatically see the safety and they're going to try to blame him. So I'm just glad that that was explained. I'm going to say this before I really get to heap praises on people. Ayuk. There's been times this year where I feel like he's fumbles, drop touchdowns versus Chargers. Another drop on a big third down where we could have kept the defense off the field, where we could have extended the drive yesterday. For me, he doesn't make enough big plays, in my opinion, like a Debo has. Like more so last year, where Debo had 13 drops, which was near tops in the league. But we really didn't care about the drops because we knew Debo was carrying this team. I don't think Ayuk makes enough plays to where those drops are acceptable. And it really irritated me. And then that, the defense got back on the field and boom, touchdown Seahawks. So, I mean, and if playoff time comes, we play better teams, and they could take advantage of stuff like that. Because then, boom, our kicker missed the field goal. So it's just stuff like that that kind of I'm noticing. So I really want to see him because a lot of people love him. A lot of people consider him the number one, and maybe he is right now. But I need him to be better in those moments, and that was a key moment. That was a key moment. So I just need Brandon Ayuk to do better. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, again, my expectations for guys are different. It was fun to see him come on. I think the mishaps with him are more noticeable because he doesn't get a lot of opportunity.
Yeah,
Right. So Debo, remember 2019
last year
or
20.
2020? Like, there's been times where Debo has a bunch of drops, right?
Yeah, last
And
year.
it doesn't matter because he gets so many opportunities to make plays, as opposed to Ayuk, who might get 3 targets. And if you only get 3 targets, like, and one of them might drop it, who's to say? Because there have been games where he had 6 targets, 6 catches. There's been games where he had 7 catches on 7 targets or 7 catches on 8 targets, right? Where the more opportunities, maybe that one drop is a one-off. And if he was featured a little bit more, the more opportunity, you'd be able to see more of the, things that he could bring. But we just haven't seen him have those type of opportunities consistently. There was a 3 or 4 game stretch at one point, a few weeks back, but just he doesn't get enough opportunity. And maybe it's part of it's because of the addition of Christian McCaffrey, right? Because clearly McCaffrey, he's a big-time safety blanket for the quarterbacks. They're going to check it down to him. They're going to throw to him. They're going to look for him. They're going to feature him in the passing game on a lot of these shorter things. I think if the 49ers had a more spread offense with a quarterback that is driving the ball a lot more, I think you'd see Ayuk potentially get a little bit more looks than what he's currently getting right now.
For me, it's situationally though. That's more so what I'm talking about. I'm not really caring if he drop a ball on second down. That's I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna trip as much, but it's situationally. I mean, that's twice in the goal line. He did it against the Chargers. He did it and then he had a fumble, I believe, against the Falcons. Yeah, I think he fumbled against the Falcons, but
Nah, it wasn't the Falcons.
no, it was the Chargers. Was it the
He had a big
Chargers?
game against the Falcons, scored a couple of touchdowns. So, and that's my tough thing too, right? Because we could talk about a drop, a drop would be touchdown on the goal line against the Arizona Cardinals, but then we also it's like, well, how many touchdowns has he caught this year? And a lot of them are kind of in that area of making guys miss, catch the ball, get into the end zone. Did it twice against the Atlanta Falcons. So it's tough, but yeah, you got to make those plays, right? He's paid to do it, and he's got to make those plays. So I agree with you.
And Mooney Ward, I'm gonna say this: Mooney Ward ate his Wheaties yesterday. He woke up and he ate his Wheaties, and he knew what matchup he had, and the Wheaties came through. So shout out to Mooney Ward. It's Victory Friday. The 49ers are NFC West champs. I'm on cloud 9, Croc. Hopefully you on cloud 9. We've got
100%.
long days of rest. That's what I love for this team is that they get the rest days. And 7-game win streak. Purdy, I thought I gave Purdy a B+ yesterday. I thought he played extremely well on the road. The Niners took Seattle. The reason why somebody in my spaces talked about the crowd. The reason why you didn't really hear Seattle crowd is because the 49ers came in from the start and shut that down.
Well, there's 2 reasons why. One is because, they came out, they scored right away. But 2, the other reason why is for whatever reason, and this has been very consistent every Thursday, the Amazon Prime production does not pick up crowd noise well.
Yeah, they need to do better on that.
Yeah, so we can't even hear. Like, I'd have no idea watching their broadcast if the crowd is loud or not. They do a terrible job with bringing that crowd noise into our home. So they gotta fix that. That's been consistent every week with Amazon Prime.
But if you watch the game though, I mean there really wasn't many moments that the fans could have gotten loud anyways. Because I mean from the start our defense came in and stuffed them. I mean suffocated them. They were suffocating all night. I mean 9 QB hits, 3 sacks, 5 tackles for losses, a fumble, a fumble. And so, I mean, all of those things that's happening, 2 forced fumbles. There was no point where really the Seattle fans could really get loud. The only time I really heard them was when we were on the goal line, at our own goal line, and maybe, you know, our last drive where they possibly could have got a stop to get the ball back. Other than that, we gave them no chances to be loud. But I'm gonna end off with that, Croc. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Shout out to all the people in the listener section. Happy Friday to y'all. Have a blessed Friday.
All right. Have a good one, Chris.
Yep. You too.
All right. Shout out to the faithful. I'm about to go live with my guy, Ryan. I wanted to get to some of these. There were a few comments I starred from the chat. Croc, is there a problem with Aziz and Greenlaw? I have no idea. I didn't pick up on anything, but I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't seen anything to speculate that. Oh, man, why are people acting like everyone has to be perfect? Can we stop being naive and just call it what it is? NFL players are human. They're not going to be perfect. They can't make every play stop. Yeah, I'd say, as I do, I think right now, with where we're at, we are going to look at everything. Everyone has access to all 22. So you look at all 22, you can find this little thing. Everybody has access to the film. And I think more than ever before, everyone has an opinion. And I think that's why it comes off as everyone has to be perfect. But Manny, I agree with you. What does Mason have to do to get more run? Do the average 16 yard? Well, he averages 16 yards carry because of that big run. But I think just in general, he's been running extremely well. I have no idea how he's not getting 10 runs a game. And they run McCaffrey a lot. Do it. You gave up a lot to get him. You want to get that back? Cool. But please, mix in Mason. I think they could do it more often. Like, I feel like Mason didn't touch the ball maybe once in the first half and then didn't start getting carries until late in the second half. Like, get him carries in the game. Mix him in. I think he'd be a legit spellback, especially running the ball. Maybe he can't pass protect. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he can't pass protect, and that'll keep you off the field. Shout out to everybody that tuned into the show. You guys make this a great, enjoyable show for me. Appreciate everyone that tuned in from start to finish. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see when I come back. I'm traveling to California next week, I believe. And but yeah, we'll be back on soon. Appreciate all y'all, and I am out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Cross Talk TV podcast. Peace.